Is the United States in a constitutional crisis?
Yes, I do, Kristen, and democracy is at risk. Look, Donald Trump is a lawless, angry man. He thinks he should be king. He thinks he should do whatever he wants, regardless of the law. And he thinks judges should just listen to him.
Joining us now, New York University Law School professor on constitutional law, Kenji Yoshino. Good to see you, Professor. Constitutional crisis. Is that how you see it?
I wouldn't go that far quite yet, although I think the light is blinking, right? So I think that the constitutional crisis occurs when you have a direct order and then President Trump openly flouts it and says, I'm not going to follow that, period, full stop.
You don't think it's gotten to that point yet?
Well, I think with this Boasberg kind of fracas, like, it depends on your characterization, but he's not saying, like he said to Laura Ingraham, like, you know, I'm not going to flout a court order. So we have that kind of, at least facial kind of veneer of compliance with judicial.
Right. He's saying one thing, but there are indications his administration may be doing another.
Well, I think the most troubling thing for now is the call for impeachment of judges. Like, I just want to think about three tracks. Like, one track is you appeal the decision that you disagree with. The other one is you just totally ignore it, right? And I think right now he's putting a lot of his energy in between those two extremes by saying, impeach this judge. And that sounds like more lawful because it occurs within the confines of the Constitution, but nonetheless is extremely alarming because he's saying impeach this person not because they did anything wrong professionally, but rather because they rendered a decision with which I disagree.
And we actually saw that rare statement with the Chief Justice, John Roberts, pushing back on this calls to impeach the judge in the Alien Enemies Act. And he said, quote, for more than 2 centuries, it has been established that impeachment is not an appropriate response to disagreement concerning a judicial decision. The normal appellate review process exists for that purpose. I wonder, Kenji, does the Supreme Court have any role, any power to really protect the balance between the judiciary and the executive branches?
I think formally, no, right? The Supreme Court and the judiciary in general has been called the least dangerous branch in the Federalist Papers because it has neither the power of the sword nor the purse, right? So it's seen as weaker than the other two branches of government in that way, and it relies on, you know, the public's kind of respect for its legitimacy. But in another sense, yes, I think what, you know, Chief Justice Roberts is doing in that very unusual statement, I think he's only done it twice before, is to rally the judiciary and the people around to support the judiciary in order to say, look, you cannot actually do this. The rule of law depends on the judges being the ultimate arbiter of the law.
In the meantime, you have the White House trying to use the Supreme Court to get their way, calling on the Supreme Court to rein in what they're calling its activist judges. Take a listen to Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt earlier this week.
The judges in this country are acting erroneously. We have judges who are acting as partisan activists from the bench. They are trying to dictate policy from the President of the United States. They are trying to clearly slow walk this administration's agenda, and it's unacceptable.
Can you shine light on what instances would make sense for a judge to be impeached, and would the Supreme Court have any role in that?
Yes. In fact, like 18 judges have been impeached over the course of this nation's history, but like they're fairly kind of clear cases, I think, to the American public. Like you take a bribe or you engage in sexual harassment or you're publicly drunk on the bench. So things that have nothing to do with the substance of decisions have been the grounds on which judges have been impeached in the past.
So great to have you here to help shine light on